In America, whenever wild boars descend, entire communities erupt into chaos, as if facing a state of emergency. Fields lie in ruins, crops torn apart, and desperate locals turn to expert marksmen as their last line of defense. When nature spirals out of control, who will step up to restore the balance? Join us on this pulse-pounding pursuit, where humans confront colossal devastators in the heart of the wild. Who will claim victory in this fierce battle? The answers will unfold with every step of today's hunt. We set out for the vast prairies of the American Midwest, where wild boars roam in packs. Rifles, thermal binoculars, and camouflage gear are locked and loaded. The hunt across the open grasslands begins. Treading carefully through the lush green prairie, barely 10 minutes passed when a loud rustle erupted behind me. A monstrous beast was charging straight at me with terrifying speed. Instinct kicked in, I backstepped swiftly, raised my rifle, and fired. The first shot grazed past, the prey dodging by a hair's breadth. Not letting the moment slip, I locked onto the target again and pulled the trigger once more. The second bullet struck true, piercing its flank. The beast collapsed, skidding across the ground before lying still. In another direction, a panicked prey bolted across the prairie, fleeing after witnessing its companion's downfall. Seizing the moment, I swiftly shouldered my rifle, fine-tuning the scope's aim. One heartbeat later, I pulled the trigger. The bullet sliced through the air, striking the beast's flank. It skidded across the grassy expanse before collapsing, completely subdued. Leaving behind the sprawling prairies, we press on toward the rugged hills of the American West. The terrain shifts dramatically, jagged rocky slopes, scattered thorny brush, and air growing dry and crisp. We double-check our weapons, stocking up on binoculars, armor-piercing rounds, and water. The battle in this harsh hill country officially begins. The pack of hunting dogs was unleashed to scout the terrain. In less than 10 minutes, their frenzied barking echoed across the hillside. From a distance, I spotted a beast fleeing the relentless pursuit. Without hesitation, I raised my rifle, locked onto the target, and pulled the trigger. The sharp crack of the shot rang out, the bullet tearing through the air and striking a vital point. The prey collapsed down the slope, the chase over in a flash. Continuing the climb toward the hill's crest, a sudden rustle in the nearby brush caught my ear. I knew the prey was lurking there. Moving softly, I closed in, ready to take it down. The moment its dark head poked out from the thicket, I fired in a flash. The bullet struck its skull, sending the beast reeling backward before it tumbled down the hillside. No chance for it to fight back. Just nearby, the frantic barking of the hunting dogs erupted again from a thick cluster of brush ahead. I swiftly closed in, holding my breath, rifle raised and ready. Once again, we've claimed victory in a heart-pounding showdown between hunter and wild nature. Every shot fired today was within the bounds of the law in designated hunting areas across America.
When the first leaves begin to turn gold across the forests of Turkey, hunting season officially kicks off. In the cool, breezy autumn weather, much milder than the sweltering summer, wild boars often gather in groups and head out in search of food. That makes it the perfect time for hunters like us to track them more easily. Now, let's dive straight into a thrilling, intense, and emotionally charged hunting expedition together. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, our team hit the road in our familiar hunting truck, heading toward the forest. The moment we arrived, everyone got into position without hesitation. I focused all my attention on every subtle sound and movement. There it was, the target had emerged. The wild boars sensed danger and bolted, but a well-placed shot from my hands to drop one of them just in time. Still in the same ambush position, I was presented with another chance to take the shot. This time, a boar charged head-on toward me. Before it could veer away, I pulled the trigger. The animal had no chance of escaping. The hunting dogs were doing an excellent job. They had locked onto another boar. But at nearly 30 kilometers each, the animal scuttled away and escaped, leaving us frustrated and disappointed. We continued scouting the area, and suddenly, without warning, a new target appeared. I didn't hesitate, immediately got into shooting stance and squeezed the trigger. The first shot missed, and the entire group of boars scattered in panic. A rapid follow-up volley eventually brought one down, motionless on the ground. I headed into the forest pool with a few friends and our pack of hunting dogs. Under pressure from the dogs, the wild boars were forced out of hiding. I was ready. One emerged, then another, and then an entire group came into view. Without letting up, I aimed and kept firing. After a barrage of bullets, a number of them lay lifeless in the dense forest. On the other side of the forest, my friends had also taken position and waited patiently. 5 tense minutes passed in silence, then finally, the prey appeared. But these animals were clever, weaving through the trees to avoid detection. Still, with sharp instincts and skill, Harry swiftly took one down Less than 5 minutes later, a few more wild boars emerged, catching us off guard. Quick and agile, they zigzagged through the trees. Harry, keeping steady aim, took careful shots. Eventually, one from the group fell in the heart of the woods. I quietly moved deeper into the forest, gun ready in hand, waiting for any suspicious sign. And there it was, my goodness, not just one, but dozens of boars charged in our direction. I didn't hesitate. I quickly raised my rifle, locked onto a lone star, and fired decisively. The boar collapsed instantly. The rest scattered quickly, we gave chase. All of us kept reloading and firing, managing to take down many. The rustling of leaves nearby put me on high alert. Just as I raised my weapon, a wild boar burst out and darted right past me. I fired without hesitation. The first bullet missed, but the second hit its mark, dropping the beast within seconds. The deep forest, always a reliable refuge for wild boars, had once again hidden my next target. After some tracking, I finally spotted one emerging from the edge of the woods. I quickly raised my rifle and fired the moment it charged out. One single, clean, and precise shot was enough to bring it down. Have you ever imagined a wild hog hunt from above, where you hover in the air, watching the animals move on the ground? We recently had the opportunity to experience that unique journey right in our home state of Texas. It was more than just a hunt, it was a thrilling adventure that we will never forget. Our hunting team boarded the helicopter and set off. The group's first destination would be a vast, open plain, so there would be no trees to hide the pigs' movements. One by one the prey appeared before our eyes. I sat in the helicopter, trying to keep my balance in the shaking conditions, then continuously fired towards the prey. The pigs tried to run as fast as they could. However, they absolutely could not escape the powerful bullets that were being fired. After killing the pigs in the field, we turned to the sparse forest in the distance. The roar of the engine, the spinning propellers tearing through the air, mixed with the first gunshots ringing out in the air. The herd of wild boars ran away in panic, but with smooth coordination and extensive experience, we took down each one accurately. When the smoke cleared, only the dead pigs remained, lying motionless on the desolate ground. This forest seemed to be a safe haven for many wild boars, so when we returned again, we still encountered quite a few. Hearing the sound of the helicopter engine, the pigs immediately separated from the herd and ran away from the forest in panic. Determined not to let any target escape, even the lone ones, we quickly controlled the helicopter to close in and pursue closely. They were running so fast. I had to keep my hand steady, timing each shot. After a few more rounds, the invaders were finally wiped out. Leaving the forest, our helicopter continued to move to a large field. The crops here had just been harvested, leaving bare land, completely devoid of hiding places for wild boars. From above, we easily followed their every move. Not a single step escaped our sight. I adjusted my stance, took a deep breath, locked on my target, and fired. For nearly 10 minutes, I kept shooting. One by one, the wild boars fell to the ground, lying still in the middle of the dry field. Helicopters, accessing difficult areas like swamps is easier than ever. After nearly 10 years of hunting, we knew the enemy's habits very well. The pigs knew that this area was not safe, so they hid in the tall grass, waiting for an opportunity to escape. So we glided low, passing over each tree, our eyes carefully observing them. As expected, the noise of the helicopter engine was unbearable for the pigs. They panicked and rushed out of their shelter, running in all directions, trying to find a way to escape. At that moment, I opened fire. Each shot rang out decisively, without a moment's hesitation. Each shot was accurate, taking down each one of them as they tried to escape. Within just half an hour, more than 30 more wild boars collapsed on the ground, ending their hopeless escape. The whole team focused on aiming and firing continuously. In an instant, gunshots rang out, and then the bodies of fallen wild boars were scattered everywhere. As we were about to end our hunt after a long day of chasing, an unexpected sight came before our eyes. A huge herd of wild boars gathered in the middle of the field. Opportunity is here. I immediately got into position, aimed carefully, and fired. The shots ran out accurately, the bullets hitting the weak points, causing each one to fall on the spot. The gunshots caused the herd to panic and scatter, trying to run away. I continued to fire, each round of bullets whizzing through the air, aimed straight at those who were struggling in despair. This was the perfect ending to an unforgettable day of hunting. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.
Since I was a boy, I grew up to the sound of gunfire and the scent of gunpowder drifting through ancient oak groves. This place isn't just a picturesque landscape, it's a sacred ground for wild boars, creatures both cunning and ferocious. Today is a special day. It's the day of the biggest hunt of the year, bringing together more than 20 hunters from across central Italy. We gathered early in the morning at the edge of Monte Amiata Forest with our pack of hunting dogs. I led a three-man team into the western part of the woods. Every step was a safety check. Gun loaded, bullets tucked into the leather pocket of my coat, eyes watching every branch that moved slightly. The hunting dogs picked up a scent and rushed into the trees. A loud noise erupted ahead, and I signaled for readiness. Suddenly, a massive wild boar charged out from the forest. I could only react instinctively. The gunshot rang out, the boar was hit and collapsed to the ground. Before we had time to celebrate, several more wild boars appeared. We kept firing. One of them, weighing over 100 kilograms, dropped to the ground. "Oh my God," Davide exclaimed as he witnessed the unbelievable scene before us. Luca quickly signaled to open fire, and I unloaded my rounds continuously. Some of the wild boars went down. We signaled the other hunting teams and began tracking the trail of this massive herd of wild boars. Around 9 a.m., as sunlight began to pierce through the damp canopy, we heard a strong rustling sound from the bushes ahead. Luca signaled us to stop. A wild boar emerged from the undergrowth. Perhaps sensing the danger, it bolted at full speed. We opened fire. Although the boar was hit, it still managed to flee into the forest. About 100 meters away, we found it was a fully grown wild boar. After marking the location of the boar, we continued our ambush at the spot. Suddenly, we heard the sound of hurried footsteps coming from the east. As we turned, a wild boar appeared. It burst out from the bushes and was quickly taken down by a single shot. Wow, a precise shot eliminated the boar instantly. But we didn't stop there. We decided to go deeper into the forest in search of it. The forest was not as peaceful as it looked. Some areas were blocked by fallen trees. But what caught our attention were the massive footprints deeply pressed into the soil discovered by Luca. We decided to follow the trail. The closer we got to where the wild boars were active, the more signs we found of the ground being dug up by them. After about 30 minutes of searching, we saw a large-sized wild boar. We were determined not to let this one escape. Everyone held their guns tightly and kept a close watch on what lay ahead. A loud shot rang out. The wild boar fell instantly. It seemed that today's hunt was going smoothly, as we had managed to bring down these wild boars with ease. By the afternoon, we moved to the forest's edge to prepare for gathering our trophies and heading home. There, one more wild boar had been taken down. This would be the last boar we hunted. wild boars we harvest are usually distributed to families in the village or delivered to local processing facilities. In general, we make use of them, and wild boar meat is very delicious if you know how to prepare it properly. That's the end of today's video. What did you think of today's hunt? Leave us lots of comments below so we can hear from you. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.
This weekend, Jackson invited me to California to hunt wild boars together. He often talks about wild boars here and the terrible destruction they cause to crops. Therefore, such hunting trips are encouraged by the state government, and he often hunts with his friends. Without thinking much, I packed up and moved here, preparing for the hunting trip. Come on, let's start this exciting journey together. Invasive feral pigs in California are causing many negative impacts on the environment and people's lives. They not only invade residential areas but also plow up lawns in residential areas, damage the landscape and cause insecurity. In addition, feral pigs also destroy fields, seriously affecting crop yields and causing economic losses to farmers. To address this situation, the California state government encourages hunters and farmers to participate in hunting activities to control the number of feral pigs. Early in the morning, we started moving to the large field where Jackson said feral pigs often appeared. And sure enough, as the fog still hung over the mountain tops, we soon spotted a herd of wild boars. They were leisurely foraging in the harvested rice fields, their fur shiny black, their bodies massive. They must have been foraging and destroying the rice fields all season. That's why they were so fat. Carefully placing the Ruger American .22 Magnum, I tried to aim accurately. My target must be the fattest wild boar. Just thinking about taking it down, I felt a surge of adrenaline. There was no time to hesitate. I pulled the trigger and fired. The bullet hit the boar's flank. It was clearly a weak spot, and the boar actually bolted from the sudden pain. I only ran a few meters. The accurate shot took it down. The wild boar lay motionless in the field, probably weighing around 300 pounds. After a great start, our hunt continued on the way into the central California fields. We came across a herd of wild boars wandering by a small stream. And the herd slowly walked through the dry grass. The black fur made them stand out a lot. Look! I also found some mottled pigs. The size was not to be underestimated. It seemed that they realized something. The herd quickly ran away and disappeared behind the trees. A few minutes later, we chased and took down a black wild boar. With just one accurate shot, the wild boar rolled down the slope and was taken down. As expected, hunting wild pigs in California was a great experience. I killed monsters that destroyed crops. In the swaying car, we headed to the grasslands to look for other targets. It was not difficult for us to spot the wild boars, as they appeared quite comfortably in the dry grass. This time Jackson pointed out the target he wanted to take down. It was the largest wild boar in the herd. It was running away but still in a good position. The first shot hit the pig's flank. It staggered